Okay, so I have a concept that I want to share with you today that I'm still kind of wrapping my head around myself, but it's super life-changing and I would love to share it with you. The 3D reality that is currently reflecting in front of you right now is all the past. And hear me out, because every single moment that goes by is already the past. Like, you're only in the present when you realize you are in the present, because every passing moment, when you notice you're present, even every moment that goes by, like even just you watching me talking right now, every single moment that the words are making sense in your brain and everything are in the past. It's crazy. Every single moment is fleeting. And this is why I feel like the 3D does not matter at all, because it's all a reflection of your past. So in a previous video, I talked about how looking to the 3D is like looking to the 3D for validation is like looking to the past for current events. And I live by that, but I want to dive deeper into that in this video and talk about why certain circumstances may be triggering and everything and may not reflect your dream life yet, what that means, and how you can shift it into living more in the 4D and creating from the 4D and being patient with like the 3D leg and everything, because it's so real, right? So the first thing I want to mention is like, when you look to the 3D for validation, again, it's like looking to the past for current events. There's a better analogy that I thought of for this. I mean, that's a super simple one, but when you are looking for certain things in your 3D reality to feel validated, or it's not reflecting your dream life, it's not like, it's the version of you that's stressed out, or you don't like your job, or you're in a toxic relationship and you're wondering like, why are things not changing? Because you're trying to change the 3D, you're trying to change your circumstances. Like, that can only go so far, right? So when you flip that and you change at a core identity level in here, in the 4D, your imagination realm, your thought realm, your world will rearrange itself to match what frequency you are putting out from your 4D, the thought realm, the imagination realm. And it's essentially like this. So when you change who you are on a very core base level, so instead of thinking, how can I change my 3D reality? For example, in a current situation for me right now, my upstairs neighbors are absolutely horrible and they are so freaking loud and it drives me insane, right? And I kind of like to think of it as, okay, so this is happening as a reflection of a past version of me who attracted things that made me feel stressed, right? Because I used to be addicted to stress, and I'm, recovering from that. And as a lot of us are, right? Because we are so dopamine bombarded with social media and everything like that. So I know that it was from a past version of me who was addicted to stress that attracts all these little stressors, whether it's road rage, people cutting me off, or crazy situations at my job, or crazy comments on social media. Like, it's just, I would attract those circumstances because I identified as a stressed out person, right? And I just thought, and that's how everyone else saw me too. Like, oh, she always has so much going on. What a hustler. But like, also she's so stressed and just so high strung. And that energy was what I was emitting, right? And so now I have built a reality where it's starting to reflect my new identity of the more I rest, the more I receive. So it's kind of like de-escalating the stress mode, and we're starting to learn to receive from resting and not just like this ultimate stress mode, right? I hope I'm making sense here. But the 3D is not quite reflecting that 100% yet, and there's still some things that piss me off, essentially, like my neighbors who are super loud, or like my cats in the background who are growling and it's so distracting, right? It's like certain things are all a reflection of the past, and it's no reflection on or actually it is straight up a reflection of like who you are being. And I understand certain circumstances happen, but I truly believe that everything that happens to you I understand there are things like abuse and trauma and stuff like that that happens in, you know, when your younger years and stuff like that, and you don't really have control over that. But when you are old enough now, like to make your own decisions, and you're old enough to be a new person, right? You can change who you want to be and everything. That is when you have all the power in the world, because you have the awareness and the will and you have the imagination to be able to change who you are. So, for example, in this situation where I'm like dealing with all these 3D stressors, instead of turning to the 3D for validation here and using that as evidence of, oh, this is stressing me out, I'm a stressed out person, it's coherent, it's aligned in that way, right? Or looking to, I go for a drive and I get caught in some hardcore traffic. Oh, that resonates with the stressed out version of me. Like noticing these little interferences, I guess you could call them, that like are evidence of my stressed out identity, the old identity. Whereas looking from the new identity, being someone new, my gosh, sorry, my allergies are so bad. Looking from the 40 and like, so in this moment I could pause and I could keep acting like the stressed out version of me, seeing all this evidence that proves that that identity is real. We're looking to the 3D for validation in that moment, right? Go into construction mode, like, you know, the little 404 signs, and there's like a little handyman with like a pickaxe on like the websites. You know what I mean? Turn into that mode. You're under construction. Go into the 4D, take some time to reconstruct a new self. So for me in this situation, I reconstruct a new identity of, oh, those sounds don't bother me. I don't even notice them because that's not who I am anymore. I'm too busy with other things. And not even busy like in a stressed out way, but my peace is more valuable to me than getting worked up over something like hearing thumping. That would be really funny if you could like hear the thumping in the video, because they are kind of thumping on and off. They're like renovating, and it's annoying as I'm like just now focusing on it and like paying attention to it. But we're creating a new reality and a new identity. But that starts in here with your imagination. So again, reconstructing that new self, we're going back to, okay, peace is more productive for me than focusing on little stressors like that. Or say I get caught in road rage, or like not a road rage, but like traffic. Oh, it is what it is. I'm at the right place at the right time. This might be protecting me for something, whatever. It's just a moment for me to relax and slow down and be peaceful and notice the world around me, right? You're seeing things in a different way and changing who you are and what bothers you. You're literally reconstructing yourself. And sometimes this can feel difficult and it can feel challenging because your neural pathways actually form around the identity that you have been consistently for long periods of time. So if you have been a very stressed out person, or a very, you know, whatever type of person you are, victim mindset, whatever it is, aggressive, I don't know who you are. Whoever you have been being that is not reflecting your dream reality, that is, okay, I totally lost my train of thought. I always lose my train of thought at like the best parts. This sucks. And see, that's just an assumption right there. That's my identity. Like I see myself as, oh, I'm someone who like loses my train of thought, but we're gonna reconstruct that. Okay, anyway, I got my train of thought back. So when you're creating your new reality, your neural pathways form around that. So whoever you've been being for a long period of time, your neural pathways have formed around that. And think of your neural pathways like a literal pathway in the forest, right? Oh, my cat's so cute in the background over there. So when you look at a prairie, right, there could be two different pathways. One where it's complete grass, you have to forge your own path. That's what we're doing with creating a new identity. We're forging our own new path. And when you take the old path, see two paths in the prairie again, you are walking through almost a Grand Canyon, because that is what your mind is so used to taking. It's forged its path around the identity that you are used to being right now. Obviously, your brain is going to want to take the path that's the Grand Canyon because it knows where it's going. It's familiar, it's easy, it uses less energy, it's more energy efficient, literally, for your brain. What we're doing is we're taking the new path, we're forging a new path by creating a new identity, by reconstructing a new identity. So this is not even just like law of assumption, Neville Goddard, woo-woo delusional vibes. Like this is actual neuroscience. I'm so sorry, my cat is going crazy right now. you literally just seen him run. He's got the zoomies. But yeah, so it's literally neuroplasticity. It's literally neuroscience. It merges with the quantum physics of the consciousness realm. It's so crazy. So what do you think your brain's going to want to do? Take the Grand Canyon route, obviously. But no, we're forging a new path in this prairie, and it sucks sometimes, and it's hard, and it feels uncomfortable, and you don't know where you're going, and sometimes it feels like you don't know what you're doing, and sometimes it feels like you don't even want to keep going because it's scary and it's hard and it's gross because the grass is touching your legs, and you have to keep walking that path over and over and over again. And that's why sometimes it feels hard. Oh wow, you can see all three of my kitties, cute. But sometimes it feels hard, and you're gonna feel so tempted to go back to that Grand Canyon pathway, and sometimes you're going to. But it's so important that, because all you really need to do here is anytime you feel doubt, create a trigger that reminds you of your new identity. So for me, it's dropping my shoulders. Like, noticing when I'm stressed, I put all my stress in my shoulders, and whenever I drop my shoulders, it's like a physical cue to my body that, oh, we're our millionaire selves now. We're the version of us that has $1 million. And when you start focusing on that new version of you that you've created in your mind in that 4D reality so much, you start thinking of, before you make a decision, what would, for example, I'm going to use the millionaire version of me. That was a prime identity shift. That was what I labeled it. You can label it whatever you want. This also is like an alter ego thing that you can create and come up with a name for it, have fun with it. Sometimes that helps other people more. It's like you're literally creating a new avatar that you are essentially putting the skin on for however long it lasts in that new pathway before your brain switches to the Grand Canyon, because that's inevitably going to happen sometimes, right? So when you're like walking this new path, and all of a sudden you're going to notice there are points where you're at that crossroads, and you're like, okay, what would the version of me who has it all be doing right now? If she knew the outcome was inevitable, or if I knew the outcome was inevitable, what would I do right now? We're going to take the new path. You'll start to see that you have these options where you press X or Y to take whichever path, the Grand Canyon or the new path. And it's really cool, and you can feel yourself changing in that moment. And sometimes the new path obviously feels scary, and sometimes it feels unfamiliar, and it sometimes feels really tempting to go back, but you have to stay loyal, persevere, persist into that new path, because eventually over time you will start to create those, physical cues or cues around you where, like for me, when my shoulders drop, oh, we're our millionaire selves now. Everything feels so peace and at ease right now. I feel like there's a weight lifted off my shoulders. I forgot that I don't have to stress about this because I'm the universe's trust fund baby, right? Like, that's kind of how I like to see it. Because I come from a background of like not having, money and stuff like that. So we're in the process of building that generational wealth for the future. But yeah, so that's kind of how I like to see it. And you'll create those physical cues, and it makes a world of a difference. And there is such a thing as a habit loop. And a lot of the behaviors that you have right now have been built around those habit loops. And I don't know the exact science behind it. I read a whole book a while ago. I totally forgot who it was by. I think it was by Charles Duhigg, I want to say. And it's called The Power of Habit. And it goes all in about like, okay, so there's a cue, something, I'm totally going to butcher it if I go into it. But basically with a habit, there's always a cue, an action, and a reward, right? And so when you have a physical anchor, it really helps train your body to like be in that state even more. And it's kind of like a little bit of a life hack to take the fast lane to that new identity, or like to stop what you're doing. It interrupts the old habit loop and like reminds you, oh, we're in a new habit loop, and so forth. And I think it was Andrew Huberman that recently came out with a whole new theory that it doesn't take as long as we thought to build habits. We used to think it took like 21 days, 60 days, 90 days. It takes however long it takes for you. So it can take like 3 days. If it's a super intense, like you have a drive, like, oh, say you're a super stressed out person and you're like, oh, I want to be a person who protects her peace and rests and receives more just from resting, right? So if you intensely believe and assume the more I rest, the more I receive, you can build that habit literally in like 3 days or even overnight, right? Gotta fix my camera. So yeah, it's so incredible choosing the new identity and like acting from that identity. When you take that new path, you literally create new neural pathways, because you're literally walking and forging new paths. Those are your neural pathways that you are creating around your new identity. What is this going to lead to? It's going to lead to you spotting new opportunities that your old self, taking the old path, would never have seen before. This is going to result in the 3D genuinely reflecting that new path, because you are seeing things differently, not only opportunities, but you're seeing things differently. You're having a new experience because you are literally taking a new pathway, which is more than likely going to be better than your old pathway, because obviously you created a new pathway for whatever reason that is, like living your dream life, feeling better in life, whatever it is, you're going to feel better. You're going to have literally just a whole different experience. It's going to be a whole different experience because you're no longer taking the old pathways that you used to take, that your old identity used to take, where you would not normally see those, because it's a whole different direction. Like if you take two different paths in a forest in real life or in a prairie in real life, you're going to get two different experiences. That's just science, right? Like you can't experience two things at once. You can't tell yourself two stories at once. So pick one story, stay loyal as fuck to it, persist, and you will start to see your 3D reality change around you, because the change starts in here with those neural pathways. So I hope that made sense. We're not going to go to the 3D for validation anymore. I also had a really cool analogy for that I wanted to share in the beginning of this, where it made the most sense, but it's basically like when you look up at the sky, you know how a lot of the stars that you see are not, they don't even exist anymore, because light, even though it travels super fast, it still takes thousands and thousands of years to reach us. So the stars that we see when we look up right in this moment, those are thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. So many of them have exploded into supernovas by now. They're not even real. They're gone. And we're not seeing new stars yet because it takes time for the light to reach us. That is exactly how the 3D is, obviously on a much faster pace and a much faster scale, because we're not hundreds of thousands of light years away from our reality that we're trying to become, right? The new identity, the new reality, right? But it's such a cool analogy, because when you are looking at the sky for validation, or like to see, and you are just taking that as face value, you're like, oh, this is real, like these stars are real, they're existing. They're not. Most of them are not even real anymore. And that's exactly how it is with your 3D reality. When you're looking at your 3D reality and you're saying, oh, this is real, this is a reflection of who I am right now. No, it's not. It's literally not. It's a past version of you. It is a projection of a past version of you. So it takes time. There is a 3D lag. And it's so important to persist and stay loyal to the new outcome, to the new pathway in your brain, because that is what is going to change your reality when you start and constantly and you're just very loyal to that new identity pathway. So I want you to do a challenge. I want you to take this challenge of, if you want to, obviously. I did not word that in the best way, but for the next 24 hours or the next week, if you want to go hard, every single piece of evidence that you see in your 3D reality that irritates you or pisses you off or is not resonating with the reality that you want to have, your dream reality, right? Take a moment, pause, recognize yourself at this crossroads and see, oh, this is just a reflection, a projection of the past version of me, who I was. Because the world around me is trying to validate that. So I'm going to take the new pathway this time. And we're going to, that's what people mean when they say ignore the 3D. We're going to ignore the 3D. Obviously it's still an experience, but that's not who you identify with anymore. And you're living from the new identity. So try that and see how it goes. So next time you're like in road rage or traffic or something, instead of getting all irritated and mad and seeing this as, oh, this is my reality right now, and this is who I am and I'm so angry, flip it and see yourself, if the version of you who you want to become is super peaceful and calm and like living in the moment, see it as like, oh, this is a blessing. I have time to slow down and really notice the world around me. This is beautiful, right? Something like that. You got this, because the 3D is literally just going to the past for current events again. You got this.